I'm going to talk about my online courses quite extensively today, and I'm also going to talk about why working with our nervous system at the level I teach, specifically what I teach in these programs and courses, is we could say cutting edge, but it's really just what our system wants. And so I come from a perspective of somatic neurophysiology, movement science, regulation, attachment theory, developmental trauma. There's many avenues that my programs and courses funnel into. It isn't just about working with the limbic system. It isn't just about working with repatterning habits and thoughts. It isn't just about somatic work, and it isn't just about theory and cognitive. It's about all of it integrated. So that's what we'll be talking about today. One of the most common questions we get is, Irene, do I have to start the course immediately? No, you don't. If you purchase it now, you could start it next year. You could start it next week. You could start it on Wednesday. You could start it in 5 years. However, I will say this, I've been doing this work long enough to know that those who really get in there immediately, even if it just means listening to the first introductory video, even if it means just listening to the first exercise, even if it means just creating your login and password to get into the site, just start one step. It might mean reading the first paragraph of the email that we send you. The reason why this is so important is because, again, from my experience, I find that people wait until the perfect moment to start, and there is no perfect moment. Now, there's one caveat. If you're literally in a war-torn country right now and there are bombs falling from the sky, or you're in a tsunami, or you're in some kind of intense shock trauma where it would be impossible for you to concentrate for 5 minutes, then it isn't the right time to start. However, if you are sitting here with your device, you have running water, you can smile back at me, or you can move your arms voluntarily and you can be attentive to what I'm saying right now, then it's a pretty good chance that you can start this immediately. The other question we often get is, do I have to complete the course in 21 days? So I'm just going to hit these top level questions right now. No, you do not. I would say that the bulk of people who go through my online courses, whether it's this one, the 21-day nervous system tune-up, or my longer, bigger curriculum, which is Smart Body, Smart Mind, and I will talk about the differences between the two today. Very rarely, if at all, does someone go through the curriculum in the set time. In many ways, this is intentional. To me, it's a 21-day curriculum. And in that, you might take 3 months. I know of people who've taken a year to go through these 21 days. Some folks might do it in 6 months. It depends on you. It depends on your level of regulation. It depends on your life circumstance. But the key is that you are doing something every day, even if it's integrating one thing that you learned on day one into your life for a month. That is what will continue the learning process and the healing process. So I wanted to cover that. I will say also to this, as I talk, I encourage everyone to connect to their body, to connect to the ground, to break your gaze away from the computer, as I will have to when I read things. Take some water, have some tea, get up, move around. There's no need to be focused, hyper-focused here. Just listen and really listen to your needs to take care of yourself. Now, I say this because this is a big part of the learning. For many of us, our nervous systems are completely dysregulated, and we could say out of whack, messed up, because we did not have the proper connection, attunement, and our needs were not met when we were really little. And by little, I mean in utero and in the first 3 years of life. Those are primary pivotal years for developing the human nervous system and self-regulation. Again, the good news, if you're here and you're listening and you can be here attentive to a certain degree and you can nod your head as I nod my head and all these things, you have the capacity to re-regulate and rewire if you never had this when you were young. The key is consistency. Our education system, I'm going to speak to that because this course, the 21 days, is online learning. So it falls into the category more so of education and learning than therapy. I am not by trade a therapist. You are not doing one-on-one therapy with me in this course. It's not group work. It's self-directed learning. And with that learning, you can create healing and regulation. But because of how so many of us, and raise your hand if you were raised in a school system where you had to complete your assignments, if you didn't pass the test, there was often no option to do it again. You failed. You only read what was on the test. You didn't create and have further learning from what was exactly asked in those, say, 12 years that you were in school. Some of us were fortunate enough to go to post-secondary school where we actually enjoyed what we studied. That's, for me, was the case. But we have been so screwed up by the education system to have so much fear and shame and performance anxiety that often we don't start. And if we make a mistake, we figure we failed, we might as well just stop. Do not go into this work with that mentality. And I would say that that in itself is one of the biggest unlearnings that one has to do to be successful with this kind of online learning work. So I just want to note that because, again, I don't know the statistics, but my sense is over 50% of the people that go through my programs might struggle because they haven't realized that the patterns of how they engage with learning and using their brain have been so poisoned by the education system and often such a poor experience. And so I'm here to say I consider myself a master teacher. The professionals, so this will answer the question to, is there support when you do this 21-day nervous system tune-up? Yes, there is. Not one-on-one support, but we have forum support in our program password protected site. So in that site, for each lesson of the week, each lesson of the course, you can ask questions specific to that lesson, whether it's an audio, a video, a prompt. And then there's a general question thread where you can ask a general question about your learning within the course, about your process. And the people answering the questions have been with me for a very long time. They're all colleagues in the somatic experiencing fields. Most of them are trained also in the Feldenkrais method and other forms of working with early trauma, attachment trauma, all these sorts of things. So when you join and when you begin, you're not alone. And so really make use of our specialists, of our pros who are there to answer your questions every week. So that was another thing I wanted to mention more logistically. How long do I have access to the programs? As long as we have the internet and electricity. How about that? You can download the audio lessons and the video trainings, and you can have them stored on your computer on a hard drive. I don't think you could probably burn them onto a CD, but you get the point. You have this content for as long as we have these faculties here online. So there's again, no rush. This is often the worry and the anxiety people have is they don't start because they fear failing, and just start, right? There's going to be fear of failing. There's going to be fear of not completing, and that's perfectly normal. And we don't want that to stop. We don't want that resistance to stop you from doing the work and learning, which then leads to healing. How do I know if I'm ready for the course? Well, I kind of answered that already. If you can sit here with a device and you can make yourself breakfast and, open your eyes and see the world and bring your hands to touch, you've got that motor skill. You're not neurologically paralyzed in some way. If you've got this ability to move and do the basic necessities of daily life, you can do this course. The key is that you want to. That's one big caveat, that you believe that you can work with yourself, that you can heal, and that you believe you deserve it. And this comes back to early trauma, attachment trauma, developmental trauma, where we had so much adversity, so much crap just spilled on us from our caregivers, from our systems, our social systems, religion, all the things. Um, if we are dealing with this sense that we don't deserve, that we're not worthy of a good life, that is a mindset that we have to shift. That we have to, in some ways, you could say, I don't say this often, but fake it till you make it. You have to believe and you have to deserve the belief, right? It's like, yep, I deserve to have good life force energy. I deserve to have good bowel movements. I deserve to have a healthy immune system. I deserve to have good relationships. I deserve to have energy in the morning. I deserve to be able to think clearly and set boundaries. I deserve the ability to have all my emotions be felt and expressed, right? So, um, how do I know if I'm ready for the course? If you're here saying, yes, I want those things.